Hello, everybody. It is Sir J. Lolly, and it's been minutes since I've recorded anything. I've had a lot of stuff go down. Um, I got into a relationship, still in a relationship, and then a lot of stuff happened, not in the relationship, but just circumstances outside of the relationship. And so I had to focus on that, and I then decided to listen to somebody on the internet and inject myself with the pill that I was on, the Jatenzo, because somebody on the internet told me that they had gotten amazing results from injecting themselves from Jatenzo, the testosterone pill. And so I thought I'd give it a try. Less than a week later, so Sunday I injected myself. Wednesday I noticed a knot forming right here. And if you see, you can see the incision right here, and I'm about to tell you everything. I don't give a fuck anymore. So, by Wednesday I noticed the knot forming, and actually that night I noticed a small nickel-sized knot forming whenever I went to Meijer with my partner, and I was like, maybe it's just scar tissue. Whatever. So I didn't really think anything about it. Well, apparently it wasn't just scar tissue, because it started legitimately growing, and it formed about this big, and it was not the most comfortable, or actually the most pleasant, and it was quite not pleasant, actually. And so I digress. Whatever. So I started putting ice on it, trying to get the swelling to go down. I started taking Tylenol and ibuprofen for the pain, thinking that I could get it to go away with ice. Did not work. So finally my partner was like, just call the Trans Wellness Center, ask for an appointment, see if you can get an appointment. And I'm like, okay. It was not an okay thing. I was just like, I don't really want to do that, because then I'd have to admit that I did something stupid. So it took me like a day to do that, and then finally I sucked up my pride and I messaged them, and I'm like, hey, I did a stupid thing, and I'm sucking up my pride, tail between my legs, and coming to you all. And they were really cool about it. They got me in the very next morning, and I went in there, and they pretty much were like, this looks like a bad infection, and we really want you to go see to the ER and probably get this removed. And I'm like, great. And at that point, my name hadn't been it had been legally changed, but I hadn't received the medical, the card for it. Like, my license had been changed, but my medical card hadn't. So the name on my I had sent away for the medical card, but it hadn't showed up yet. And so they were like, that's all we're waiting on is that medical card. And I'm like, yes, I'm aware. So I didn't want to go to the ER because I didn't want the dead name on my bracelet and have to go through that. And so I was like, I'd really rather not go to the ER. And the RN, not RN, nurse practitioner, understood every bit of it. Like, she was really, really, really cool and sweet and understanding about everything. If you're in the Indianapolis area, her name is Kelly. It's a Irish or Scotland last name. It's like a O'Shellany. Shellinase. I can't pronounce it. I butcher it every time. But she's got really long blonde hair and she works in the Trans Wellness Center. She's super, super, super sweet and understanding. Like, I told her why I did it, and she sat there and actually listened to me without any judgment. And it's very, very rare for a doctor or like anybody in the field to sit there and listen without judgment. And she literally sat there and listened to everything I had to say without judgment, and I was very impressed. Anyway, I digress. So she went out and called my hormone doctor to see what they wanted to do, well, what she wanted to do. And well, they combined, but my hormone doctor is a she. And she came back and they decided that they wanted to treat it like cellulitis of the abdominal wall, and gave me antibiotics. And I was on them every 8 hours for I think 7 days. And it went from like a huge area down to this like alien little size thing. And so I went back in after the antibiotics were done, and they liked the look of it, I liked the look of it. It started turning into this like alien popping out like thing. And Monday it looked like sufficiently flat. It was a little red around it. It was flat. And then Wednesday, so like I went there, got the antibiotics. The following Monday, it was pretty much flat. It was like red around it a little bit, but it was fine. The following Wednesday, it had increased, like it was raised from the skin about that much, and it looked like an alien was trying to come out of my skin. And it felt like it. Like it felt like something was trying to come out of my body. And it was not fun by any means of the operation. It fucking hurt. I could not sleep. I could not. I barely ate. It was not fun. I had a really, really, really sucky couple of weeks. Which were my fault. Which was my fault. But I learned my lesson very quick like. And so I went to the emergency room. They had me an appointment scheduled for the next day, the Trans Wellness Center did. And I was cool with it, but the pain was just getting too much, and like just brushing it up against like the slightest little bit against something was like a shocking pain against something. And it was like touching a nerve, and an open nerve, and I was just like, no, I can't do this, I gotta go to the ER. And I went to the ER, and the first day that I was there, because I had to go 2 days in a row, I love America. Um, the first day that I was in there, I spent 12 whole hours in the ER. And it's the longest I've spent in the ER. And they wanted me to stay longer. And I left against medical advice because I got there at like, I think 4 p.m. and I left at 4 a.m. Almost 4 a.m. And I was super grumpy, super tired, super hungry. Like, all I wanted to do was smash food, lay in bed, put my fan on, and go to sleep. Like, that's legitimately all I wanted to do. And my partner was super concerned, and I was a dick to them, and they didn't deserve it, like, at all. And once we got to the car, I realized how much of a dick I was to them. So I quickly apologized to them, and I told them that I appreciated their care and their concern, because literally they were going to go to the house and get everything that I needed to make my stay at the hospital more comfortable. And I'm like, fuck no, I'm leaving this goddamn place right now. So the person who advised me not to leave the hospital was, she was a very sweet woman. Like, her name's Sarah, I think. I don't even know what she is. I don't, like, she told us, but I don't remember what she is. The next day, I was there for 4 hours max. I had to get a CT scan the first night, and they wanted me to consult with surgery and all this other kind of stuff, and the surgery team just kept getting called into emergencies, and I was getting bumped down to the end of the list, which is why I was there for over 6 hours. And then the second time, they gave me an ultrasound and pretty much told me that I didn't need to be there all that time, and sent me away, telling me to just leave it open and to keep it covered, let it keep draining, and I'd be fine. And I'm like, so I came back here for nothing. They were like, pretty much, yeah. And I'm like, thanks, man, appreciate it. So I gave birth to an alien, because literally whenever they cut into the incision, the first night, he used 8 or 9 packets of gauze. Literally, it was like this much of gauze. And as soon as he cut open this incision, I smelled all of the oil, like every bit of it. And it was a menthol-y smell, and I knew exactly what it was as soon as he cut into it, and I was just like, oh my god. So yeah, that's my story. Don't inject yourself with anything that you don't know anything about it. Don't listen to anybody from the internet. And most certainly, if you're not sure about it, ask your healthcare provider. That's the biggest one. Ask your healthcare provider. If you don't have a healthcare provider, you know what? Put it in the comments. If you're watching this, put it in the comments. I'll ask my healthcare provider. I have like 4 of them, and all of them welcome my questions. Like, all of them welcome my questions. So, if you have any questions or need anything answered, I literally have a place where I can message them and be like, yo, I have this question and this question and this question, and they are always happy to answer. So, yeah. Alright, kids. That's it for today's video. I love you, stay beautiful, and as always, be compassionate and loving to everybody you meet. Peace.